Recently, there has been an understanding that international students are responsible for the rising rent in Australia. In this video, I'm going to get into certain details, facts, and the number which will help you to decide for yourself that are international students responsible or in fact they are also suffering. Between year 2019 and 2023, median weekly rent increased by 30% in Australia, and it's over the same period student visa arrival decreased by 13%. So on one side you're having a visa arrivals decreasing by 13%, and on another side in the same period weekly rent is increasing by 30%. Even in the post-COVID world, while international students return to Australia, increase in rents do not align with the return. Because the fact is, the rent started increasing in 2020 when there was no international student migration and most students had returned home. A report was published by Student Accommodation Council on 26 April 2024. It says that some of the factors which are responsible for increase in rents are rise of smaller and solo person households, interstate migration in Australia, and trend to repurpose second bedroom into home offices due to work from home culture. So these all are affecting the supply and affordability of rental homes across Australia. If we go by what Tory Brown, who is an executive director of Student Accommodation Council, have to say, he says international students have been unfairly blamed for rental crisis, while the report shows that long-term structural issues in Australia's housing markets are the real cause for rental pressure. And he also advocates that we need to look at this issue with a broader spectrum rather than just blaming a single cohort for all the mess. Now let us look further into the data. Between June and October 2023, median rent in Australia increased by 5%, and it is over that same period there was increase of international students by 18%. So the time where the international students are increasing by 18%, the rent is increasing only by 5%. And on the other side, when international students are declining, rent is increasing by almost 30%. So international students have limited impact on the rental market. They only account 4% of the renters actually. The majority of the renters are couple, single parents, or lone person households who are not international student visa holder. If we go into detail of that, household with children are 56% of the renters, 37% are one family household couple with children, and 19% are one family household single parents. Household without children are 29% of the renters. One family household couple with no children are 16%, and lone person household are 13%. International students are less concentrated in market for rental houses, which are popular with families and preferring apartment. They are mostly trying to find, college accommodation or student accommodation, and or something which is provided by purpose-built student accommodation developments. So international students are actually not really responsible for the mess which is going on right now in the society. The report further shows that the current pipeline of new purpose-built student accommodation will not meet the future need. With the projected 7,770 new beds which will come online by 2026, it is not going to alleviate the pressure from the private rental market. In fact, it will push 1% of the international student into the private rental market, and it will add to the stress which is being felt by a medium household right now. International students contribute around $25.5 billion to the Australian economy. According to Anok Darling, who is the chair of Student Accommodation Council and CEO of SCAPE, he further advocates that government need to work with SCAPE and purpose-built student accommodation to grow the supply of professionally managed, custom-built and safe student accommodation, which elevate pressure on the private rental market. As per an estimate, there is a need of 66,000 new beds to the market by 2026 to maintain the proportion of international students living in the building. So friends, the only purpose of making this video was to tell you that international students are not the culprit which people are thinking, or which there is like conundrum going on that they are for the rental crisis. In fact, international students are also suffering with the same thing. There has been stories where the rents have increased from like by $220 a week to $400 a week. There are international students who are just forced to live in the hall by paying $500 a week in Sydney and Melbourne. So it is a system which needs to be corrected. International students need, they may be a part, a small chunk of it, but they are not the only factor. Until the time we don't see things with a bigger landscape, the situation may not improve. Though Austrian government are trying to solve the situation, there are many private home suppliers that are trying to solve the situation. I'll try to make a video about it maybe in the next week. Thank you.